Hi, I am Indy Neidell, and this is the World War II in real-time set, obviously, and we've just finished a shooting session, and I've got to head to the train and go back to Stockholm in just a few minutes. But I wanted to talk about something before I go. $50,000 a month. That's what, you can see, comes in to us from Patreon. It's crazy, right? Now, we here at TimeGhost headquarters, we must be swimming in money. We're cruising in convertible cars, puffing on big, classy Cuban cigars, crisp and costly Cristal champagne. Well, okay, as much as many of us here might wish that were the truth, the reality is far less exotic. But where exactly do your pledges go? And how do we make each of these videos? Where are we all based? The last question is perhaps one of the most complicated. You see, the TimeGhost Team is a fully remote operation. Our team of 15 people, plus interns and external service providers, is spread across Sweden, Poland, Georgia, Bosnia, Germany, the Netherlands, the UK, Canada, and the US. We film all our videos out of Sparty and Astrid's home in the countryside outside of Munich, Germany. Those of you who know me well know that I live in Sweden. Jag har faktiskt bott i Sverige över 20 år och ja, jag pratar svenska. Living in Sweden and having to film in Germany means that I need to regularly travel here to make that possible. Of course, I cannot be flying in every week, so that brings us to our roughly 4 to 6 week production schedule. It begins with research and writing. We have 5 historians and on-staff writers: James, Marcus, Francis, Spartacus, and me. At times we get help from volunteers, but that still means one of us has to go over that, check the history, and make a script out of it. I like to use the word scriptify, even though it's not a real word, but one day it will be. Now, I write and research the entire weekly World War II series myself, and that's what Sparty does for War Against Humanity. Astrid provides research into the intelligence war. Francis manages the writing team, making sure we're on schedule and what needs to be written gets written, by whom and when, and on a regular basis, he calls us together to decide the schedule for the next few months. The writers and Astrid will have prepared for that by researching a list of things we'd like to cover, and then we brainstorm to get a list that makes sense and is hopefully somewhat realistic. James and Francis are both academic historians. They write the scripts for the Spies and Ties series, On the Home Front, and a variety of special episodes. Marcus has a degree in military history and focuses on our purely military specials. The 5 of us sit in our chambers in the weeks prior to filming, reading tons of books, sifting through primary resources, making notes, searching for more material to crank out the scripts to be filmed. Our proofreader, Dennis, will then review a script to catch any glaring factual mistakes or typos. I never make any of them. Sparty, you make a few, right?
All the time.
Yeah. And then every 4 to 6 weeks or so, I fly down to Germany and to Sparty and Astrid's home, and often we're joined by a couple other members of the TimeGhost crew, like Marek, our lead production manager and audio engineer, Ian, our communications and fundraising manager, Irina, one of our many editors, or Francis, our editorial lead. We all stay with Sparty and Astrid for like a week or so, and if you're wondering, it does get crowded. To accommodate us all, Sparty and Astrid have rebuilt 2 garden houses, as well as an old hen house and tool shed into 2 guest cabins and a live-in office, which is very cozy, actually. Sparty's really handy, so he actually physically did the building himself. We spend about a week filming all the videos that'll come out over the next few weeks, and also use the time to brainstorm about future projects, videos, and the channel direction at large. Okay, in any case, now we have the scripts. We're ready to shoot. For that, we need our studio, right? Back when we began TimeGhost in 2017, we filmed in their living room, and that wasn't great for a number of reasons. I remember the sound being especially big reason. But in 2018, Sparty tore down a garden house in their backlot and built a small studio in its place, literally from pouring the foundation up to cabling and setting all of the film lights. In this space, Astrid does her magic and creates the sets, which is an ongoing process. The studio is set up so that we can change direction and insert wall panels, change the furniture, change the decoration. That's movie magic, to change the single space into whichever set works for each format. Astrid also works permanently to make sure that we're all supplied with outfits, especially enough ties. You can see the one I just used hanging over there on the chair of infinite knowledge. Well, that has to reflect the realism of passing time. I mean, even in World War II, people didn't wear the same clothes for 6 years. Although in World War I, they apparently did, because in the Great War, I wore the same outfit for the entire 4 years of the show.
People were poorer back then.
Yeah, it was a simpler time. We record everything on a broadcast quality camera in 4K. We publish it in HD. And that enables us to zoom in frame to the picture and create a faux close-up as if we had multiple cameras. And this avoids, jump cuts, like weird YouTube jump cuts, and allows us to use changing perspectives to emphasize the narrative. In any case, once the set is decorated and the lights have been set, one of us, Anna, Astrid, Sparty, or yours truly, get into position. Astrid makes sure everything looks perfect. Another one of us mans the teleprompter and camera. The script is loaded into the computer, and it's lights, camera, action. This is when I do my magic and deliver the story that has already taken a week or more to prepare. The files are then uploaded to our cloud server so that our editing team can start post-production. That process is managed by Marek out of Poland, and he has 4 editors at his disposal. Karo, Miki, and Irina, our senior editor who has been doing World War II since early 1940 and does much more. One position is currently vacant, and Marek is looking for a new editor. Meanwhile, the sections of the scripts that need maps go to our map researcher, Sietse. He digs through books and atlases to outline exactly where each military unit is located. His research is then given to our map maker, Daniel, who illustrates and animates the whole thing using Adobe After Effects. In parallel to that, the editors do all of the image research, sound design, cutting, and assembly. Supporting them with direction is me, Marek, Spartacus, and our graphic designer, Mikołaj. Francis and the interns take care of fact-checking the video episodes. Once the video is approved, we have editorial calls on Thursday mornings, at which time Francis leads discussions about what title we should go with and what thumbnail should accompany the video. Mikołaj expertly crafts that thumbnail, as well as any additional graphic elements the video might need. Then it goes to Ian and the interns for publishing. Weekly episodes and War Against Humanity go up on Patreon first and then public. The others go straight to premiere on YouTube. By now, we've spent about €1,750 on each video. So for the 16 or so videos we produce per month, we've used up almost $30,000. But that doesn't include licensing for the video material we need. We have a partnership with Screen Ocean and Reuters for that, fortunately, and it would normally cost tens of thousands of dollars per month to use the stuff that we use. But they support our projects by giving us a hefty discount. It's still around $10,000 a month. Furthermore, although we've now reached 40,000, Astrid, Sparty, and I haven't been paid yet, and we haven't covered our overhead. We need to pay for books, articles. We have Tarek writing the daily community and Instagram posts. We have Tim upkeeping the TimeGhost.tv website. We got to pay for our email provider, our website host, Dropbox, Slack, loads of different softwares and IT infrastructure, electricity, office rental. Many of us have shared office spaces. I have an office in Stockholm, and the landlord here in Bern Reed needs to get paid. Then there is bookkeeping, taxes, and all the stuff that rests on Astrid's CEO shoulders. Last but not least, we do need new equipment regularly, as well as upkeep and rebuilding of sets and studio. Altogether, that adds up to another $10,000 to $15,000 per month on average. So if you've been following the numbers, we've already spent up to $55,000, which is more than we get from the TimeGhost Army on Patreon. In fact, we don't even get $50,000. Patreon takes 10%. And then there are transfer fees from the banks, so we end up with around $43,000. The rest is covered by what we get from the TimeGhost Army members who have signed up directly at TimeGhost.tv, ad revenue on YouTube, and the occasional sponsorship. So that money also has to cover Astrid, Sparty's, and my salary, as well as development of new projects. Now, about a year ago, we had a monthly average income of around $15,000 from YouTube. Since then, YouTube has gone into an ad spend crisis, in part because of the current economy with inflation and the war in Ukraine impacting advertising spending in general. Online ads on social media, including YouTube, have gone down the most, possibly because of all the bad and not wholly undeserved publicity about Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. In any case, our income from YouTube has by now almost halved. This brings us to the reason we're making this video, because you see, we're in the middle of filming our special D-Day documentary series, 24 hours long. Back in September, we had to fly an entire production team out to Normandy for a whole week of filming there, as well as rent a van to carry all the equipment from Germany to France. Sparty and I have just got back from a writing retreat in Austria, and we're about to go into production and post-production in February and March. So far, that budget has been covered by the memorials that some of you have already booked for the D-Day series. But that money is used up now, and we need you to be part of the conclusion of this magnificent undertaking. The 24-hour D-Day coverage will be something never ever seen before. Trust me, it will be extraordinary. To make your mark on it, you can book a memorial. But we're also asking for your participation to increase our overall budget. To make all our plans come true, our budget needs to increase by $15,000 a month or more. We also want to be transparent that we will need to increase the amount of sponsored partnerships that we do. They will still only be placed in the specials, in video specials. And we're aiming to mainly work with educational brands that fit our channels, so no crypto or generic mobile games or anything. The weekly series and War Against Humanity and all, they will remain, as they always have, fully sponsor-free and 100% backed by the TimeGhost Army. We will have another video that comes out soon that tells you more about all this. I want to be abundantly clear here. Nothing of what I'm saying here is me complaining. And the three of us, Astrid, Sparty, and I, live perfectly happy and comfortable lives. This channel is not making us rich. After all is said and done, not very much is left over for us to pay ourselves. It's not minimum wage, but we're also not spring chickens. We're in our 50s. We've worked our entire lives. We have families. At some point, we're going to want to retire. The three of us have given up higher salaries and rejected many offers for better paying jobs to dedicate upwards of 60 hours a week to creating this project. Because at the end of the day, we don't do this for the money. We do it because we really believe, that something special has been created here. Something that you have joined us in creating. A community of hundreds of thousands of people learning and teaching about our collective past, keeping the history of some of humanity's greatest mistakes and successes alive so that future generations can learn from that past and use that knowledge to create a more free, a more democratic world, a world that upholds international cooperation and fundamental human rights. In fact, everyone who works at TimeGhost is ultimately in it for that. Our writers, editors, artists, the people doing administrative stuff behind the scenes are some of the best damn people in their fields. They know, and we know, that they could be in much more cushy positions elsewhere. But it's about more than that. We know that you feel that too, because each of your pledges on Patreon could be going to, Netflix, new pair of shoes, any other aspect of your life. But you have chosen, like the rest of us, to give a little part of your life to creating this project. So we are asking you now, and we will be asking you throughout the week, to sign up to the TimeGhost Army on Patreon if you have not, and to raise your pledge if you've done so already. Any amount is enormously helpful and enormously appreciated. The ideal pledge that would help us is the $9 tier, or if you feel so inclined, the $25 tier. We know that each of you believes in what we're all producing here together. In fact, we're asking all of you who have signed up already to leave a comment below sharing why you think others should join too. I guess I'll just say thank you for all your dedication and time and for joining us to make TimeGhost what it is and what it will be. See you next time.